can't prove anything. But the things she said about my past and my future have been almost materializing 100%. But another thing she did, she gave me a little red pouch, little bag that has some stones inside. And she said, I want you to carry this little bag with you at all times. Don't ever open it. So I took it with me, and I always had it in my wallet. And I was being promoted again and again and again. I was doing very well at in the company I used to work for. And then one weekend I went to New York for a conference. I was putting gas in the car. It was snowing, and I dropped my wallet. And she had told me, don't open the bag, remember. So I get back to my hotel, and the police says, sir, we found your wallet. And I said, great. So I go to the station, get my wallet, no money, and the bag was open. So the first thing I did, oh my, the bag is open. I threw it in the first trash can I found. I go back to the office in California on Monday, and although I was doing great for the company, I was producing a lot of money for the company, my boss calls me in his office and says, your position has been eliminated. So it was almost like a downward spiral from that moment on, to the point that they eventually sent me to the desert where I live in Arizona. And at the time, you know, I'm from the mountains. I'm from the ocean. I grew up in Puerto Rico where there's a lot of green and ocean. So I was not used to the hot weather and the desert scenery. But that's where I was placed. You know, bad news in the company. Eventually, I hated the corporate world so much, and some of you who are listening may understand the rat race gets to you after so many years, that I started buying businesses. And that's what I do until now. That's why I can't produce more of Veritas for you, because I have all those, let's call them trivial responsibilities that I still have. So that's another story that came about from that lady as well, James.
Great. Or maybe she's listening and called into the show or something. You know, that would be amazing.
That would
be
be
there's so many things I want to talk to you about. First of all, I don't know if you want to cover this or not, but we've both had James Fox on our show. And I just heard on the news, I never listen to the news, but I was in my truck driving along, and I turned on the radio, and I hear, oh, happy days, you know, the well is capped, you know, on the Gulf oil volcano, let's call it. They said, oh, it's capped, you know, they've sealed it off, everything's fine. They've laid off the workers and laid off half the ships for the cleanup because the oil is all cleaned up, and there's just a little small amount left. And I couldn't believe my ears when I heard this after seeing, you know, the reports that both of us have done with the videos of the ocean, just miles and miles and miles of oil everywhere. Do you have any updates on that?
As a matter of fact, I do. But first of all, on behalf of our listeners, I want to thank James Fox. He's doing a terrific job. He's the type of media that we actually need. What he's reporting from there is not what you get anywhere else. But yes, a couple of hours ago, I got a video from James. He's going to update me tomorrow. He rented a plane once again and decided to fly over the Grand Isle area, which was one of the most affected. When he was there, it was full of oil on the coast, and he just cannot believe it. There's hardly any oil anywhere. And I've had some other people send me videos that the oil is actually standing less than a few inches under the sand. So apparently the Corexit 9500, which is the dispersant that BP has been using, has been effective to cover the oil. However, the biggest concern that we all have is the health hazards that are going to be appearing on the people and in the marine life of the area. We won't find out now, maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but in the next few years, you're going to see people developing a lot of strange diseases or conditions. And, of course, the pharmaceutical companies and the medical industry will basically say, well, that's just, a disease that you develop. It's going to be very difficult. Plausible deniability to point fingers at others. But that seems to be the case. The oil is nowhere to be found. And now, I don't know about you, James, but I would not eat fish from that area right now unless it's tested.
Yeah, they're saying, the fish is fine to eat. There's no problem. Go swimming. Who knows what's lurking, down low. But I know the Corexit, it just sinks the oil, basically. And then the fumes that come off of that, the benzene methane and everything else just destroys your lungs, basically your upper respiratory system. So I know a lot of the workers are coming down. I guess some have died, but some are coming down with real serious lung disorders and upper respiratory problems. So anyway, any way you look at it, there seems to still be just a massive cover-up. And I am really hoping there was some divine intervention or something happened to remove all that oil, but I have a funny feeling a lot of it just might be lurking just underneath, the water because it was sent down. And I also just got a video that said a lot of the oil actually shut down the Gulf Stream, which is quite interesting. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did see that, and the reports I'm getting is that if this is indeed happening, that the Gulf Stream stopped, that's going to create a different weather pattern. And maybe, just maybe, in the month of June, and look, I'm the first person to tell you that I don't believe that humans are creating global warming. Mars and other planets are warmer than usual. I mean, we have solar maximums and solar minimums. However, if this was done on purpose, and if this is one of the reasons why, I mean, look at Russia. One of the reasons why, I don't know if you've heard in the news, they have a huge fire taking place there. They have shut down the exports of wheat. And what that's going to cost, and we're okay in the Western world. We spend about 10% of our income in food, but other countries spend 50, 60, 70% of their income in food, and there's going to be a lot of starvation because of this. The month of June, the month of July have been the warmest on record. And I don't say this to say, Al Gore, here we are, global warming. No, but it's just a fact. June and July have been the hottest months recorded in the history of recorded weather. So this could be correlated to what's happening in the Gulf Streams.
Yeah, definitely. What I heard basically that if that Gulf Stream does shut down, all that warm water going up there is going to be coming up there, and it could actually throw Europe into an ice age if it doesn't restart. There's all kinds. Who knows what's going on because it's just so crazy. There's so many things happening and unfolding as we speak, and I think if the people wake up and get the message from this and stop, destroying their environment and destroying the ocean and letting everybody cover it up, and maybe some divine intervention, will step in or has stepped in and done some major work on this arena.
And just today, I don't know if you've heard that an ice sheet measuring about 100 square miles from Greenland has detached itself. It's 600 feet high, 100 miles. It's 3 times the size of Manhattan. And almost nobody's talking about that. If this is happening, this is going to be huge. Yeah, that's a lot of. If it's that high, it's going to displace a lot of water. That's for sure. And I know they're having another volcano just went off in Indonesia. I mean, it's on. The ocean floor is rising. I can't remember how many feet. Something like 13 feet a day over off the coast of Australia. So, and any way you look at it, we're definitely on a ride. I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your experience here at the ECETI Ranch and at the conference that you attended. Absolutely. And let me just say.
Oops, we lost you. I think we lost you. As soon as we get into the meat of things, we get into the really interesting things. Lo and behold,
I'm here.
You're back. Great.
Anyway, about ECETI, and as I was telling Lisa, if you had asked me a year ago if I would be discussing these topics, I would have told you that you needed some medical or mental assistance. So for months, I started approaching this subject with a skeptical mind, of course, because many people just want proof, and at the time I needed proof. So a lot of people months ago would tell me, you need to go to James Gilliland's ranch. You need to go to James Gilliland's ranch. and I would see the videos, and I would say, my God, is that true? Is that Photoshopped? And as time goes on and on and on, then I'm having Dr. Brooks Agnew on the show. And a lot of people who listen to me know the story. But he told the story of what he went through in 2006. And now that I know, I think let's call it a Kundalini awakening as well. After I heard somebody who was trained in academia, somebody with the credentials that Dr. Brooks Agnew has, I could not anymore ignore it. Then I decided that I had to have James Gilliland on my show. And then he told me his story, how he was a real estate person, and he was in the corporate world just like me. And all these things happened leading to where you are today. So then a lot of people in your ranch that listen to my show started emailing me and say, Mel, you need to be here. So to make a long story short, they finally convinced me. And I needed to find out for myself. So I embarked on this trip. I went from Arizona to Portland, drove the beautiful way to up to your ranch in Trout Lake, got there, and immediately after I got there, I'm not lying, I felt a change of energy when I stepped on your ranch. And then you have what's called the vortex right at the center of your ranch there, and I decided to spend time there and look up, and it was a change of energy. It's almost as if the wires in your body were changed, and the people around. You had doctors, you had attorneys, engineers, you had hippies, you had every race, every ethnic group, and just to be together with one common goal, as you said, positive intent, love, and compassion. You felt that everywhere. So I met great friends, and on the first night, after listening to some of the conferences, I sat down in a lounge chair and started looking up. And since I don't know how to meditate, I just closed my eyes and I started wishing. I wish to have something that I can prove. Because I've seen a few things in the past, but I've never confirmed it to anybody, because I'm the kind of person that if I'm telling you something, I have to give you proof. So I said, I need to have something, please, that I can prove that what I've always thought was real, meaning extraterrestrial life, that I can actually see something, not tangible, because I can't touch it, but I can see it. So in less than a minute after I had that thought, this light came approaching northwest, southeast, and I thought maybe that's the International Space Station, but no. It almost stopped. It changed not direction, but it changed the speed, and it started glowing on top of us, almost as if saying, I know you want to know, I know you're looking at us, and here's proof for you. I have my video camera on hand, but I said to myself, if I turn on this camera and I miss this first sighting, I'm not going to forgive myself. So I decided to just enjoy it by myself. Then the next day I found out that our mutual friend John Kelly had filmed it and provided evidence so that I could show the world that that's what happened. Also, you were kind enough to invite me to this show, to As You Wish, during the time I was at the ranch, and I could not believe it. I mean, years ago, I used to listen, and I still listen to Coast to Coast AM, and I would listen to James and to everybody else who was there, and I was a fan of all of you. And to be able to be in the same room with James Gilliland and everybody else who was a speaker, it was just a highlight. For that moment, I just could not believe that I was standing there talking to all of you, and all of you are my friends now. So every day was something different. Then when I left East Eddy, after having such a great experience, James, coming back to the concrete jungle, I felt something, and a lot of people emailed who were there saying the same thing, that they felt out of place. They had this nostalgia, and I still miss the ranch. So I envy you that you're there broadcasting from your ranch, James, because it's such a special place. And as long as you're having your conference there, I will be there every year.
Right. Yeah, anytime you want to come and do a live broadcast, you're more than welcome. Now you're part of the group. I think you were, that when we did the intention experiment and we brought the Pleiadians and some of the other energies in for people to feel and experience. I know the people in there were sighing, laughing, and crying, and just had huge openings with this energy. But the amazing thing was when we walked outside and that beautiful pinkish orange ship flew right over our heads. Were you out there when that happened?
No, I missed that.